Good evening, Raskin enjoyers. I hope you're doing right, because it's time for 48-hour analysis. Yes, just 2 days ago, all of these skins rotated in for the March Force wipe, and basically, in this video, we're going to go ahead and look at their progress based on sales, and try and figure out, is everything still looking to be a perfectly fine investment, or are there any potential problems that we need to be aware of? So, let's get started. Let's jump straight in. What are we currently looking at? Well, this is my Twitter. Basically, with every Rust store rotation, after the first 24 hours of sales, I'll go to scmm.app, take a screenshot, and then I'll tweet it out. Now, why do I do this? Well, we can make comparisons to previous weeks to see whether the skins from this current week are, is there a lot of momentum, or are there any potential problems? Maybe it's a little slow. Well, let's go ahead and do just that. So first of all, from what we can see here, the garage door is doing very nicely, and of course, not too surprising to see the likes of Legacy Kevlar, Roadsign gloves, and boots are also doing quite alright. But I was a bit concerned with this, wasn't I? So, if I quickly hop over to here, there we are. What we might notice here is that the boots and the gloves have sold more than the likes of the Roadsign vest and the coffee can helmet when we're, around the same time. It's 24 hours, of course, as you can see. But does that necessarily mean the boots and gloves are ruined? Is there any potential things that we need to be aware of that might help it out? Well, we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But we should also just kind of give you some context. This is what happens when it's excessive. For the first 24 hours of sales for Legacy Kevlar hoodie and pants, well, that had well over 20,000 sales. But back over to here, it's about 14,000 each. It's not too crazy, but it's definitely stand out. But then again, if you were to compare to the previous weeks, if I just go to my actual Twitter and look in the description of this video right now, if you want to go see for yourself, you will see that with just the past week over here, we were seeing hardly any sales. It wasn't really that much, hardly any traction, hardly any movement. And then you look back over to here, whew, so that's the difference of a force wipe. Understood? All good. Right. So unfortunately, I'm recording this a fair bit later compared to the actual 48 hours. But I did take a screenshot dead on for 48 hours. That is the current state of what the skins looked like after 2 days. So get a good look at that. The sales did, follow up from the likes of 24 hours. But I think it's starting to slow down a fair bit. So let's now actually go ahead, take a look at the current sales overall. As you can see, today we did about 146,000. And as I hop over to here we are. So it's the end of Saturday. Technically, it's Sunday now. And we had a lot of people playing, not an insane amount compared to the previous months, but still quite a lot. And with what we see here, after, 2 days and a bit, the Blocky garage door has now surpassed 20,000 sales, bare minimum subscriber counts, what we're looking at. So remember, subscribers equals the absolute bare minimum people who have bought the skin, but we don't know fully how many they bought individually. But this is always a certain. Cool, so we understand that. What could we expect for the likes of Blocky garage door? Now, first of all, let's actually go to the workshop page and see for ourselves, are we actually seeing the potential of a collection continuation? Will it actually build up into a deplorable collection, for example, is what I meant to say. And, well, sheep on a door, too narrow, maybe for a lighthouse. So, I think he's alluded to an idea there. Whilst this might have been, oil rig for a garage door, maybe we're getting a lighthouse sheepman door. And who else? Who knows what else we'll see? Sorry, I said that wrong. But you get you get the idea. This looks like the Blocky collection is going to be a thing, and looks like we're going to be getting even more Lego designs for the likes of all the various different monuments. So that's something to look forward to. However, there's a bit of a problem. And you might not instantly realise it, but if I quickly hop over to here, we're getting Easter skins. We might not be able to see any continuations for collections for, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks, because there's a fairly decent chance we're going to have Easter skins only for the next 2 weeks, or rather, just this weekend and next week there might be a break. I don't really know, but just take that into consideration. So, if we're not going to instantly see a continuation immediately, maybe it might not work out all right. Maybe there might be some problems. And with the amount that are selling, I'm starting to question it a fair bit. Now, props to Keka. He did actually do a very good job. It's a very cool, unique design for a garage door. But how many garage doors are we likely going to get this year? So, as we look over to here, what do we see? We've already had quite a lot. We're 9 weeks into the year and we already have 5. One of them being a notable Twitch drop. That was very nice. Perfect reference. But we also had the likes of the Neon garage door, which, Neon Dragon garage door, I'd say, which was only available for about 50 minutes, so maybe you could just say it's 4.5. But anyway, when you look at the likes of the previous year and the year before that, we've been getting a lot of garage doors over the past 2 years, and quite a lot of them Twitch drops. So I'm worried that maybe this isn't going to always retain its value purely based on the fact that, well, number one, there's a fairly decent chance we will be seeing even more being produced and accepted in future Rust stores. Wouldn't be surprising. But of course, with potential future Twitch drops, Twitch events and whatnot, can't help but assume we'll be seeing even more garage doors. So, unfortunately, it is simply going to be a case of, I think, with how we're going to approach this, we might just want to wait until Wednesday. So if many of you people, I get a lot of people asking this, if you don't understand what abnormal is, if we were to just quickly go over to here, go to my main YouTube page, just go to the most recent Rust Skin Abnormal Barders video, hopefully it doesn't autoplay, and we're good. Right, look in the description. As you can see right here, 2 videos are provided under what is an abnormal rust skin. If you were to watch this first video right here, it will take you to a 60-second video which will briefly explain everything in regards to how abnormals work. But if you want to get a much more in-depth understanding for what abnormals are, please consider watching this second video below, Rust Economy Abnormals and Rust Store Rotation. It's about 20 minutes long, but you'll understand a whole lot more, and you'll see my very weird, awkward haircut there. So consider giving those 2 videos a watch. It will definitely help you understand in regards to how everything works in regards to abnormals. But just understand this. The smart approach will be to wait until Wednesday night, look at how many sales have happened, and then consider a buy order price that we can put down. And then after that, we will look at it and think, well, based on all the buy order support, how likely are we going to want to jump in and, want to buy this? So that's what we're going to have to do. Patience is the best way to approach these things. You do not want to rush into anything, because unfortunately, with the amount of sales that we currently got, I can't help but assume we're probably going to reach up to about 30,000 sales. Now, for the skin creator, that's totally fine. That's all right for him. But to look at that as a potential investment, it might be selling a little bit too much, especially knowing that there's a very good chance we'll be seeing even more garage door skins from here and now. I mean, come on now. Wouldn't be surprising in the slightest, would it? So, at the very least, there's one saving grace. It does sound like we will be seeing Blocky turning into a deplorable collection. Will they continue to be accepted? We shall see, but we're not going to see anything for about 2 weeks, I reckon. So I honestly think I'm probably just going to stick with doing a buy order. It definitely seems like the smarter approach in this instance. So that's that. Shall we move on? Let's start talking about the likes of Legacy Kevlar boots and gloves. Right then, so with what we showed earlier to here, with what we have here, we are selling more than the likes of the, clearly more than that. I meant to go over to here with the likes of Roadsign vest and coffee can helmet. Why am I making such a fuss about this? Well, we know where these ended up at, don't we? Because they literally just came out a month ago. So if we were to hop back over to here and then go to February 1st, well, as you can see, with the momentum that they had, these ended up at around 24,000 bare minimum sales, subscriber counts. With the fact that the boots and the gloves, they did a fair bit more compared, well, there's a fairly decent chance these are going to probably do between 25 to 30,000 sales. That might sound a lot, initially, but compared to the rest of Legacy Kevlar, well, when you look at it that way, might not be so bad. Why? Well, hoodie and pants, they did about 50,000 sales each, and the tier 3 armor, well, that did about, 65,000, of course, 55,000 bare minimum sales each. So as long as there's other skins with a lot more, quantity compared to the likes of the boots and gloves should be okay. With them, being listed at 99 cents, I'm not surprised to see that they've sold a lot, but where they're going to end up at. So if it does end up at 30,000 sales each, is that going to be okay? Well, let's kind of split them apart. I want to focus the gloves a little bit more compared to the boots. Personally, I do favour gloves more. They tend to work out a whole lot better compared to boots at the very least. So let's put it this way. I'm sure many of you are aware, and I've brought up many times, with the likes of Roadsign gloves, there seems to be a trend where, so as long as the pair of gloves are part of a collection that has all the core pieces, tier 2, tier 3 and hoodie and pants, it usually ends up quite alright. With the likes of what we've seen recently, well, unfortunately there with Damascus Roadsign gloves, it sold a little bit too much. We'll talk more about that in a second. But Love Struck's done alright, Abyss has done alright, look at all of these other collections, Training's doing alright, you got High Quality Metal doing quite alright, Pirate's unfortunately gone down a fair bit. Pirate collection isn't doing super great, but you got JPEG. Yeah, even the likes of Skullkiller and Copper collection. Even though these collections are doing very bad at the moment, the pairs of gloves are doing perfectly fine. However, what's also helping out the likes of these two collections is the fact that the gloves did not sell that much. So if I go back over to here, Copper collection, Point I made was, in fact, correct. Only the gloves are in the positive, but the gloves only did about 12,000 sales, and compared to the likes of the Tier 2 armor, which did over 20,000 sales, Tier 3 did over 20,000 sales, and the hoodie and pants did over 30,000 sales, yeah, maybe that's not too surprising. Now, if we were to go to the likes of Skullkiller, same thing applies, but it's not as drastic. So, as we quickly hop over to here, this did about 12,000 sales, these did about 13 to 15,000 sales, these did just over 20,000 sales, and these did about 17,000 sales. Even though it wasn't as drastic, still, performing the exact same way it seems. So, looking at the state of Legacy Kevlar, what do you reckon? Because I don't think we're going to be anywhere near the likes of the hoodie and pants and the Tier 3 sales, but it is expected to go over the likes of the kilt and, of course, the coffee can and vest sales. So if these did about just over 24,000 bare minimum, the kilt did about 28,500 bare minimum. Maybe these would probably be okay. And with them only selling at 99 cents, I don't think they're going to really suffer, because I do believe there's going to be reasonable demand for them that's going to keep them up. I just don't imagine they're going to go up in price that much. So when you look at the many Roadsign glove skins that we have here, the vast majority of them sold for 99 cents. But if I want to make some better comparisons, why don't I go look at the likes of budget blackout options? So you got black gold Roadsign gloves here. Now these sold for $1.99 each, and this only did 20,000 sales. Currently, in the position that it's in, it's up 49%. That's fine. That's okay. But in contrast, we have the Dragon Rage gloves. Now these are more gold than black, so maybe this doesn't count so much. But what happened here is it sold a lot more, and compared to the rest of the collection, I think it sold a little bit too much. Therefore, in the current position it's not too surprising. Negative 36%. But scroll down even further, and we've even got the likes of the Blackout collection. So we've got the Blackout Roadsign gloves there, currently selling for $4. Now, I don't know if we're going to be as in demand as the Blackout collection, but it just goes to show, so as long as the skin's reasonably in demand, it doesn't matter if it sells a stupidly high amount, things will still work out in the end. Cool. I don't think Legacy Kevlar matches up to the likes of Blackout in terms of demand. I do not believe that. But I do believe there's still very reasonable demand for the both of these. And also, these are selling at 99 cents. Compared to those other budget Blackout options and whatnot, this is still cheaper than them. All right, so that might actually work out all right in its favour. I'm looking at the gloves, and I'm thinking, all right, that's going to probably do about 30,000 sales. Might seem quite a lot, initially, but within its own collection, it should be okay. I think the gloves will actually do a decent job in staying slightly above its rush store price, but it's 99 cents, and slightly above its rush store price might be like $1.20. So if you bought them for 99 cents and sold them for $1.20, you've made 5 cents profit. Is it worth it? You tell me. So maybe that doesn't sound very appealing to you. Maybe you just might want to stick with doing a buy order. Maybe that is the best way, to approach this. But what would you offer? Well, unfortunately, both of these skins, they are not abnormal. They are not going to be appearing at a set time, before the rush store even rotates. So quite literally, we're just going to have to look at this on Wednesday, and, well, we're just going to have to consider, with all the context that we have, do we actually want to jump in and buy some, or are we only going to commit with doing some buy orders? And what prices might we want to offer? There you go. Now, I focused, gloves a little bit more there, because typically gloves do tend to fare a bit better compared to boots. Let's go quickly take a look at some of the other boots that have come out in the recent past, and, Damascus isn't looking very good there, and we will look at those in a second. Lovestruck's doing okay, and then some of these other sets here, high quality metal gloves were doing alright. Boots, yeah. Hard suits down pretty hard. The gloves are doing better than that as well. And then you've got the likes of black gold boots doing very nicely here. But the Dragon Rage boots, ooh. What about Blackout? Blackout boots are selling for $13. But here's one thing that I brought up during the likes of my Rush Store rotation videos. If you really wanted to save some money, just go get black boots for 53 cents. That's not hard. So I get the feeling the boots here probably won't be faring as well compared to the likes of the Roadsign gloves. But I do imagine the sales are going to be fairly similar. Both of these are very likely going to do about 30,000 sales, and that's fine. That's okay. But if the Legacy Kevlar collection does, have a bit of a turnaround in the summer and work out quite all right, maybe all of this as a whole will eventually all be in the positive at one point. Now, just be aware of this, and I do bring it up quite a lot during the likes of this video over here, please consider giving this Rust Easter Dip potential problems video a good look. I do talk quite a lot about the Legacy Kevlar kilt, but that's like the stand-in for the full collection. I discuss, is everything going to be okay? Could there be any potential problems? And I use the likes of the Dragon Rage kilt and look at its behaviour from 2 years ago when the what was it? It was the Antwerp Major took place, and I discussed, well, here's what likely could happen. In short, Legacy Kevlar kilt could go down quite a fair bit in price from here and now, but it's expected to improve and do better around the summertime. For the summertime, we see a lot of people playing around then, so consider giving that video a good watch just to understand everything. And of course, keep an eye on your buy orders, please, because if you don't keep an eye on them, you might just randomly look at your your Steam account one day and realize you spent $100 on a certain skin that just went down in price really hard. So yeah, keep an eye on all of that. So I kept mentioning this. What's so special about the likes of Damascus set? Well, when you compare the boots and the glove sales compared to the rest of the set, you might notice some problems. So just the week before, we saw the likes of Tier 2 armor being accepted, and it caused the likes of Tier 3 and hoodie and pants to spike demand, spike in price. The typical behaviour you tend to see with the likes of clothing and armour collection. But the thing is, though, this did about 13,000 sales. Same here. All four of these skins on average did about 13,000 sales. But the Tier 2 armour did about 19 to 20,000 sales. There was far more of these compared to these, and that's led to problems, and these are starting to go down in price because of that. There's too much of this in excess. Now, if I were to look at the boots and gloves over here, they were very similar sales. So, quite unfortunately, they're starting to suffer. They're going down in price. And I also don't think that they have that much support either. So if I were to quickly look at the likes of the Barter support, and what do we see? Well, 99 cents, and now this has got the highest barter of 70 cents. There, that's not looking pretty. I actually avoided bardering them. So in that particular instance, they might have sold just a little bit too much. Do we see something similar happening here with the likes of the Legacy Kevlar boots and gloves? I don't think it's going to be that extreme. But, well, we've seen problems with Legacy Kevlar, haven't we? When people weren't happy, they unloaded all of their stock. And you just take one quick look at the likes of the Steam market, and it's not surprising to notice that Legacy Kevlar has very high quantities. There's a lot of listings that are constantly being put on there. So just be wary, okay? Be wary. Now, smart thing, wait until Wednesday. We'll discuss it even further, because around then, we'll have a much better idea of where it's likely going to end up with its total sales. Sounds good? Right, let's move on. Skullforce, Bandana, and Poncho. So, looking at the state of the sales so far, the likes of this, Bandana's clearly doing a lot better compared to the likes of the Poncho, probably because this is selling for 99 cents and that's selling for $2. But let's get a quick look at the likes of this set. What potentially could happen next? So, we did discuss this with the Rust Rotation video. Are we going to see any continuations? Are we going to see a potential, primitive collection being made out of this? Well, let's just quickly get a good look at that, because number one, I think that looks really cool. I mean, it does. Look at it. It's awesome. But will we see burlap clothing? Will we see hide clothing? What's next? Well, I don't think anyone's actually asked. So if I quickly hop out of here and look at the likes of the Poncho, maybe someone asked on this page. We've got eight comments, and the answer is nothing's been said. So we shall see. Remember, we've got Easter skins for the next 2 weeks potentially. We're not going to see any continuations immediately, and I'm a little bit worried. However, at the very least, the poncho is abnormal. We can do the abnormal barders in that first, look at the support afterwards, and we can consider what likely will happen with the likes of this in the future, and also consider how we're going to approach the likes of this bandana. If we have very strong support for the poncho, I'd lean more into the likes of the bandana and say, yeah, it looks like it might be good to jump in and buy some, if everything looks okay with that poncho. But take a look at all ponchos that have come out over the past year, and, well, what do we see? Oh dear, it's not looking super good, is it? No, it is not. So maybe people don't care about the recent ponchos. Is that clear enough to you? So just keep that in mind, and, well, we'll have to consider how we're going to approach things on the likes of Wednesday, alright? We have to keep an eye out for the workshop from here and now, and, maybe consider knocking on Mr. Sean Mick's door and, demand what's happening next. Sorry for stalling there. I was like, wait, hang on a minute, did I mention that? But I already have said that, so. But yeah, Skullforce, it will very likely spike demand, spike in price if we do see more primitive clothing. That has happened recently with the likes of Desert Beast collection, which we can show you over here. How's that currently looking? because we never really saw that many primitive sets being produced in the past, but unfortunately this isn't doing super great. Now initially these sold quite a fair bit, these did quite alright, they're still in the positive, but just be aware, most skins right now are struggling. They've gone down in price with the likes of the Easter dip. Again, please consider watching the video here to get a good understanding in regards to the current situation, but things could potentially improve the likes of that if we do see some more primitive skins being produced. Mr. 1RJ randomly started going the likes of the core pieces. Maybe we will see the likes of, I don't know, Disco Mask, or what else could we see? Some hide clothing, you know, maybe some boots, some hide boots, maybe some gloves, who knows? We shall see. We also have the likes of the Curse Collection. Now, Curse Collection did have spikes in demand, spikes in price with new skins being accepted, but even these have fallen with the likes of the recent Easter dip. So skins are struggling in general at the moment, but around the summertime, will we see improvement? Hopefully, because if it's like last year, where we're going up to around 95,000 average player count throughout the whole month of July, surely with such a high player count during the whole month, we will see a lot of people wanting to buy skins as well, which would then lead to skin prices improving. Hopefully, so just take that into consideration. If it does build up to a primitive set as a whole, things will be a whole lot better for it. But as of now, because I worry that we're not going to see an instant, acceptance for any continuations for this for quite some time, you might want to just stick with a buy order. Sounds good. Shall we move on? Let's go do so. Right, Khohkloma Small Box. So I did talk about the likes of the large box kind of weirdly, randomly spiking in demand. Now you might sit there and say, but Hedge, surely it's because the small box got accepted. Well, I mean, for the prices it was selling just beforehand, and for the prices it appears to be selling for now, it does not look like that was legitimate. So, back over to here, as you might be reminded, just before the small box was accepted, this large box was selling just below $2. But then the small box was accepted, and then suddenly someone jumps in and buys like 50 of these. It's ridiculous. And it went to around $3.50. But since then, it's gone down. Now, it seems to have gone up a little bit very recently. Basically, in short, this is actually in a fairly decent position. People do want it, but I just don't think that initial buyout there was like actual genuine demand. So I don't know if everything's going to work perfectly fine with the likes of the small box, because I don't see it as genuine demand. Now, total sales so far, 9,000. We've basically already caught up with the likes of the large box. This here very likely might reach up to about 15,000 sales. That would be more than a large box, but it's not like they're a direct pairing. This could sell some more, and it wouldn't really be the end of the world. But you've got to look at the likes of small box skins in general at the moment, because, well, yep, that's expected. Yeah, unfortunately, these aren't doing very nicely. Now, number one, again, Easter dip, so most skins right now have gone down in price, but could this still work out quite alright in the future? Could we see the exact same strange behaviour happening to the likes of the small box here, which basically is exactly the same as the large box, very bright glow in the dark? Maybe a lot of people simply bought this out because of that, or maybe just one individual thought they could inflate the value of the skin by buying out all the stock. Who knows? But I'm not surprised for either of them. So with the current state of that right there, it is abnormal. We can wait until Wednesday, we can do our abnormal barders, and we can look at the barter support afterwards and consider whether we want to jump in and buy this at $1.49. As of now, I think I will just be sticking with a buy order, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up with about 15,000 sales. Sounds good? Alright, let's move on. Prototype 7164. The timing is not good for this AK-47. Over the past 5 weeks, we've had an AK being accepted, and, well, we are pretty much fully in gear to potentially match up to last year's amount of AKs being accepted. 44. We are 9 weeks in, and we've already got 9 skins accepted, so that's awesome, isn't it? But the main point I'm trying to get across is, we've recently had some fairly pricey AK-47s being sold in the Rust store. El Diablo, $3.49. Mythical Dragon, $3.49. Thundergold AK-47, $3.49. Inflatable AR, $2.99. And of course this brand new prototype 7164 AK-47, $2.99. I don't think it'll be retaining that value. And with all those AK-47s that we just saw a minute ago, you might have noticed they're not doing very good. Do you need to be reminded? Let's go check again. Let's go count how much they've gone down by. Negative 27, negative 64, negative 60, negative 55, negative 76, $3.49. Now it's down to 83 cents. It's madness, isn't it? Thundergold's doing all right, though. So, back over to here. With the likes of this prototype 7164, will we see a potential continuation? I do believe they're actually planning to turn this into a collection. I do believe. I think I saw a bit of a murmur, a bit of a rumbling about that. Let's put it this way. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if that does happen. Mr. 1RJ is fairly well committed in completing full sets and whatnot, and he's been successful doing that. But he's juggling quite a lot of sets at the moment. I don't know what he's going to be doing next, but it looks quite cool, and I can give respect to it. I just don't think it's going to retain its value still. There will always be another AK-47. Quite literally, next week. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Also, with Easter just rolling up just around the corner, I wouldn't be surprised if we see tons of Easter-themed AK-47s. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get accepted. So, in short, yes, this is abnormal, and that's nice to see, but I don't feel optimistic for it. Now, I do expect this is going to probably do about 15,000 sales, but as I said, don't look at it and assume, oh yeah, no, everything's going to be all right. It's going to retain that value. No. And it's done 9,000 sales. I don't think that's like low enough where people who might want to jump in and inflate the value, manipulate and whatnot, I don't think they're going to be wanting to target anything like that. So that's going to probably do about 15,000 sales. Now we can move on to the likes of the Imperial Thompson. So I actually talked about this with my chat. We didn't see a Thompson for quite some time, did we? And well, yeah, giggle at this. So we had the charity one, that was nice. But then they changed the aim sight, so that wasn't very fun, was it? $10. Oof. But then we got the likes of this here, a $2 Imperial Thompson. Let's go take a look at this on the likes of the workshop. And it's a nice looking design. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more from this collection. And Eros has actually intended to turn this into a collection. What with the likes of the SAP very recently. Get a good look at that. Very nice, very cool. So, what do you reckon? Would you like to see more of it? Do you reckon it'll lead to some success? What do you like about it? So anyway, Thompsons. Thompsons aren't exactly doing super great at the moment. With what you see here, yeah, things are a bit awkward. Now, some of them are standing out quite alright, and that's nice to see, but not all of them, alright? Not all of them. Quite a few have gone down pretty hard. Some have only gone down a fair bit. That's fine. I'm very happy to see Berserker Thompson's only gone down by that much. We did expect it to dip down, but it seems to be recovering. Actually, is that actually happening? Is this recovering? I swear this was cheaper before. It's only got 32 quantity on the Steam market, so $2.49, and yeah, it's kind of going up a fair bit. Whoa, what's going on here? Have skin prices already reached their lowest price, and from here and now up to the summer they're only going to increase in price? I don't know, but that is a bit odd. Show liquidity. Huh. Right, 34, 32. That's a bit high. So one day it's doing 2 sales, the next day it's doing 30 something. I don't fully know what's going on there. You might want to keep an eye on some of these skins. That's a bit strange. That is a bit strange. What about Pirate Thompson here? I know this was in the positive for a very long time. So this is currently, 83 listings, $2.56. And, well, I mean, see, that's a little bit more normal, I guess you could say. And then look at the lifetime. Huh. Hide liquidity. Show me lifetime. So this reached a low point here, beginning of March. But from then on, it's going up, 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 up. And the same thing we just saw with the likes of the Berserker Thompson. Huh. Have we already reached our low point for spring? What do you reckon? Well, we've got to keep an eye out, alright? Observe, keep track of all the skins, notably the older ones, and see if they're starting to rise up in price. I do expect things to still turn out, a bit awkward and bad over the course of these next few weeks. Why? Well, literally in a week's time, we have the CS2 Copenhagen Major kicking off. And within the next few days, we're going to see the new sticker content. The capsules, the autographs, you name it, that's coming out. And a lot of money will be thrown towards that. I don't know how bad things potentially might be of the likes of Rust, but I would assume that prices across the board likely will suffer more so. And yes, I know, even now, when we've seen prices already go down, they might go down even further. And I don't expect anything to really improve until we actually enter the summertime. That is not like 100% assured, but it's happened many times in the past. So just be prepared for something like that. And, I mean, I could show this to you. So I mentioned this in the likes of the Easter dip video, but just look at the likes of this Dragon Rage kilt. This came out quite literally when the Antwerp Major came out 2 years ago, or when it happened 2 years ago. So this was accepted back in May 2022. Yep, there you go. But this is the type of behavior I expect over the course of the next few weeks. It will dip in price and then it will rise back up by the summertime. So we'll see how things potentially turn out. Hopefully a lot better than the state of that Dragon Rage AK-47. Oh god, Dragon Rage kilt. Yeah, ever since Pirate Collection came out, went down bad. And then of course Legacy Kevlar didn't do it any favours. That's what happens when a new interesting budget alternative appears. Also, have you seen the state of Savage Sword skins recently? This isn't the only one like this. So someone's jumping in and buying out all of the Salvaged Sword skins and inflating all of their values, or trying to. As you can see, we have one listing here, and then over to here there's no buy orders. Not a single one. But if I were to show you something like a wooden sword, look at this. Currently it's got listings of just over $100, but it's starting to get buy orders climbing up as well. But yeah, someone's trying to manipulate this. As I look over to here, look at its, look at that. Look at that. And if I showed liquidity, yeah, that looks normal, doesn't it? That looks definitely normal. It's definitely not someone trying to make this appear to be more valuable than what it actually is. So if we actually go ahead and look at that newer Salvage Sword skin that's just appeared on the front page there, how many sales just happened a minute ago? Let's go find out. Oh, it actually doesn't know. If we looked at this in about an hour's time, it would tell you. I mean, by the time you watch this video, go ahead, take a look at this Metal Roses short sword skin and go look and see if someone bought like 100 of them. Because I get the feeling that's exactly what happened. And yeah, Savage Sword skins as a whole, that's like the third or fourth one I've seen so far now. So Salvage Sword, there we go. I've lost it. There it is. All right. And if I were to look at them by price, you'll see several of them selling for like over $200 or something. And there you go. Roadsign was earlier. So yeah, lots of people up to some weird, strange business here. And it's this guy doing it, Digital Ghost. I've caught him in the act. And yeah, look at that earlier today. So yeah, that's just normal to see 30 plus sell within a single day, when normally only one sells a day. Well then, I'm sure that's perfectly legitimate. So yeah, sorry for going on a bit of a tangent there, but just an interesting thing that appeared. Let's go back to the Imperial Thompson properly and discuss where this might end up at. So I've kind of rambled a bit there in regards to Weester and looking at other Thompsons and whatnot, but Thompsons just simply aren't as reliable as they used to be. They used to be wonderful. They used to be great. You'd look at the Thompsons and every single one of them will be in the green, in the positive, and it was a lovely sight to see. But with the most recent post-Christmas that we had, things just went bad. And unfortunately, the only thing I can attribute to that is the fact that we got a lot of them accepted last year. And you might sit there and say, oh, surely that won't happen all over again. Well, let me remind you that by the time we got to like halfway through March, we only had 2 Thompson skins accepted. What do you think? So, in regards to that Thompson, personally, I think I'm just going to stick with doing a buy order. I think that's going to not really end up like going below $1. Thompsons rarely ever go below $1. They are reliable. They are well liked. Gun demand is very strong with the likes of that. But in terms of skins, if we keep getting more and more skin options, well, they're not going to be so special anymore, are they? So I'll look at that Wednesday. I'll discuss it more. But as of now, I think I will be just sticking with doing likes of a buy order. I think that's going to do about 12 to 15,000 sales. I'd probably lean more towards likes of maybe 13,000 sales, which isn't that much, but we shall see. All right, sounds good. Okay, cool. So yeah, sorry for looking at the likes of Savage Sword skins and whatnot, but that was interesting. Why is this selling for $2,000? Well, it's not selling; it's simply listed at that price, and I don't think it will sell at that price unless something really weird happens. So as I said, please consider keeping an eye on the likes of the workshop over the course of this weekend. I do believe we've got a continuation there. Right, so with it being Easter skins, I probably will not be doing a proper Rust Workshop skin checks video for the upcoming week. I'll just only point out all the continuations. I don't want to accidentally get people confused with my collection and TGG's collection. That German guy's collection is the official one. My one's purely based on, could we make some potential profits? Well, if I lean literally only into the likes of talking about potential profits with continuations, that would be fine, but I can't make my own list. So within reason, I'm probably not going to be making a list this week. But after that, with next week, maybe I will. We shall see. We shall see. But I don't know if we're going to have 2 weeks of Easter. So we are confirmed to have Easter appearing in Rust, as in the actual game, on the 21st, which I do believe means on the 21st of March we'll also have the first potential week of Easter. So let me just remind you, back over to here. Last year, we had 2 weeks of Easter Rust stores. We had week 1, and of course, we had week 2. Very nice, very cool. My expectation is we're going to have the exact same thing. We're going to have the last week of March also being an Easter week, and then with April rolling in after that, April Force Wipe will just be back to normal. No issues, no problems. But I do stand by my point with what I said in regards to in my roster rotation videos and of course the prediction video. I'm expecting a lot of late picks next week. And if you're wondering, are we ever going to see the likes of Legacy... we already got Legacy Kevlar. Are we ever going to see the likes of Flashbacks Tier 3 potentially being accepted? Well, actually, there's a fairly decent chance you might actually see it accepted next week. Or Thunder Gold. Or the likes of the White Death Jacket. Like, all the skins that you see here are all potential candidates as late picks. And potentially even further back with a skin that was probably made like 2 months ago. Do not be surprised by this. This is a trend that I've been noticing happening over the past year or so with the likes of holiday-themed Rust stores. Literally the week before it, we'll get quite a lot of late picks. So, rub your hands and pray and hope it happens. Cool. So... other than that, we could probably go ahead and take a look at the previous weeks, see how they're currently holding up. And, well, I'm not surprised by this in a sense. I could see there was potential problems, so I left it until Wednesday to look at the state of the gloves and boots. I looked at how many sales happened, and I realised, you know what, that looks like a little bit too much. I stepped away. I didn't do any buy orders on these, and, well... I don't think this is at its worst, so we'll see what potentially happens here in the future. Looking at the state of cyber armor, well, the coffee can went down, the kilt went down, but a very weird thing happened here with the cyber vest. Someone jumped in, and they were buying tons of these at $5 a piece. Why? I don't know. Were they successful making this more valuable? Not really. So yeah, look at that. Someone jumped in and bought a whole bunch of these at $5 a piece, but then it didn't commit, it didn't stay. I don't know why they tried to do that for a skin that sold 15,000 almost. That's a little bit too much. That was a very bad idea. Yes. Yes. So I don't think that was smart. Looking at the other skins here, well, the Serpent AK-47 isn't exactly doing super great, but these two skins, well, they didn't sell that much, and they were fairly special based on reasons such as a very nice, interesting aim sight, and of course this being part of the Thunder Gold collection. Both of these did not really sell that much. I mean, oh wow, that's looking actually pretty good at the moment. But yeah, over to here. This is doing pretty sweet. So this is currently listed at $2.60, with Bardas pushing all the way up to $2.30. That's very nice to see. And the Thunder Golds are, well, only 23 in the market, and the lowest listing is $4, with Bardas pushing up to about $3. That is looking pretty sweet. But we do hope to see the likes of more Thunder Gold skins in the future, to help that out. And I do believe we potentially might be seeing some more Apocalypse Nomad stuff in the future, but not in the near future, because of course Easter. So we'll see what happens. Cool. And what we seeing over here? Well, there you go. Flashbacks is still reasonably okay, but people are very likely going to start screaming if we don't see the acceptance of the Tier 3 potentially with the next Rust store. If that doesn't happen, you very likely might see these go down in price. So if that's a worry for you, you might want to consider selling them. But if we do see the Tier 3 appearing and being accepted with the next Rust store, well, you might see that go up to about $4 and beyond. I'm not joking. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. But yeah, even the Respawn Allegory Fresco, that's doing okay. How many listings do we have? 100. Okay, that's the average amount you should expect for likes of Rust skins on the Steam market. The Bardas are still looking okay. But is this at its worst yet? Probably not. We shall see. Over to the likes of here, Damascus Kilt's doing okay at the moment. The other pieces, Khohkloma, we already talked about that a little bit earlier. Evil Lair Sheepman Door, well, that's down by 16%. Not a tremendously a big fat drop, but it's still down. We shall see if we see the likes of the Garage Door potentially next week. Inflatable AR, oh dear. The small box here, that's actually doing perfectly fine, but I would attribute that to the fact that there's simply not that many listings on the Steam market with only 11. Yeah, only 11 of them. And then over to here, the likes of the low poly SAR, well, it sold hardly anything, and unfortunately, even then it still doesn't have that much demand. Quite unfortunate to see. Over to here, the likes of the random assortment of 6 extra skins after Valentine's, they're doing quite alright, except Corn. Nobody likes Corn. It is what it is. And then over to here with the likes of Valentine's. Yeah, quite a lot of these have dipped. So the double door's doing quite all right. Unfortunately, the sheet metal door's gone down a fair bit. Awkward. Boots and gloves, well, they sold significantly less compared to the rest of Lovestruck, so I'm not surprised to see that's working out quite all right. But yeah, only down by 14%. That's fine. That's down by 15%. Not too bad. That's only down by 2%. Not that bad. Love Giorgio, though, he's already gone down by a quarter. That's very unfortunate to see. So remember, all skins are in fact suffering at the moment due to the likes of the Easter dip. What will these skins look like during the summertime? We will only wait and see, won't we? And then, of course, this isn't doing super good, unfortunately. I mean, the rocket launcher's doing quite all right, and that's doing very nicely. In fact, I will talk more about that in a second, but with the likes of what we see here, the long double door, almost 40,000 sales, and it's still doing quite all right. It doesn't have that many listings, so if I quickly remind myself, 33. This did 40,000 sales, and there's only 33 listings. What? That doesn't add up. Well, at the very least, it's doing all right at the moment. It's currently in the positive. Let's see if that remains. And yeah, sheet metal double doors at the moment, they're actually doing quite all right. This is actually regained in... Oh my, okay, right, so let me just clarify this. When we had that 2-week period where all of these appeared, these were going down in price pretty hard. They've recovered. These have recovered and now it's evens. I mean, it's down by 1 penny, but yeah, it's still the same thing. Wow, okay, so we don't see any more sheet metal doors this year. That actually might work out quite all right. Lucky us, I guess. Cool. I'm fine with that. And then over to here with the first week of February, and yeah, there you go. That right there. Legacy Kevlar still doing all right. Blackstone Sir, well, it's only down by 18%, not too bad. And then you got the likes of the Neon Vibes Armor Door still struggling. Those Cursed Hide boots are still all right, and the rest of these skins, quite unfortunate. So yeah, what will happen with the likes of next week's Rust Door rotation? Will it only consist of late picks? Will we actually see the likes of some very interesting, cool-looking Thunder Gold hoodie and pants potentially being accepted, or the likes of the Flashbacks Tier 3, or neither, and we just cry? Who knows? But it will very likely be the last chance for these, and then we'd have to wait for like a version 2 or version 3, for we do have Easter on March 21st, and potentially, maybe, the 28th as well. You know, mark it in your calendar. There you go, all there. So, cool. 21, 22, 28. And then April Force Wipe afterwards. Right then, so, sorry for stumbling a fair bit. It is a bit late, and I'm a bit knackered. My apologies. But, keep an eye on these things, and keep an eye on your buy orders. Please, 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 please. I know I said it earlier, but please just look at all of your buy orders, especially ones that you've done somewhat recently, within the past year or so, because skin prices can just drop like nothing, and then suddenly you get dumped on and you end up spending a lot of money, all right? You don't want that to happen to you, so please keep an eye on all the buy orders that you have in regards to Rust. Just go look at their prices for those skins right now, and if it's very close to your buy order, maybe you might want to consider removing it. I have removed quite a lot recently, just because I don't want to deal with the idea of owning a skin that suddenly dropped down even further, and you don't want to deal with that either. I can recover, because I've got various other investments, but I don't think you can, so double check everything. Be careful, be cautious, and hopefully I'll be able to sell these for a nice price, or maybe, possibly. Alright, cool. So, with that, thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Have a lovely weekend, and, you know, look forward to what we potentially might be getting accepted next week. See ya. Bye.